At last report, armies from over 60 nations had deployed troops in the region, and those numbers are continuing to swell at an incredible pace. It's perhaps ironic that the majority of the activity is centering around a valley in Israel, whose name strikes fear in the hearts of many, the Valley of Armageddon.
I can't believe that Bronson is on his way over there. Are you all right, Grandma?
Everything seems to be falling into place, Helen. Who's fighting, where they're fighting, and what they're fighting about. Even President Macaluso.
Things will get better, Grandma. They always do.
Yes, I know they will, Helen. But they're going to get a lot worse before they get better. And I'm just afraid that you're not ready for what lies ahead.
Sorry.
Hi, honey.
Hi. I was hoping you'd have time to stop and say goodbye. Are you all packed?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty hard, though, when you only get 10 minutes' notice.
Are you sure you want to do this, Bronson? I mean, the latest reports are looking really ugly. Chuck's in Tel Aviv, and he says he's never seen...
We've been through this already, Helen. Come on. It's not as if this is my first trip to the front lines.
Things are different this time, and you know it.
Look, you and I have been news anchors for so long. You know it's a newsman's job to go out and get the news. Besides, it's my responsibility to the world. And who knows, maybe in some small way I can make a difference.
Well, if anyone can, it's you. It's just that I've never seen it this bad. I mean, my grandmother is completely convinced that the world is about to end.
She was talking about that during the Gulf War. Let's just hope she's wrong again.
What if she's not wrong? I mean, what if the world is about to end? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I've thought about that. It's hard not to. You and I may be the ones that has to tell the world that it's all over. We'll just do what we've always done. We'll just have to tell the truth. It's never failed us before. But right now, Helen, the truth is that I love you very much, and I will be back before you know it. Trust me.
Okay. Will you call me from the plane?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the 6 o'clock report tonight, and I shouldn't be much later. I don't want to let you go.
Oh, I'll be just fine, Helen.
Promise?
Promise.
This day will come. You can close your eyes when he sends you the sign. You can just pretend that you have plenty of time. But when you're caught in the eye of the storm, nowhere to turn as the thunder crashes. So many times you were warned, but now you're trapped as the battle rages. You could be safe with the Lord, not caught in the eye of the storm.
And while talks among world leaders continue, there is a wave of fear spreading around the globe. A fear that what seemed nothing more than a regional conflict only a few weeks ago may now be developing into the start of nothing less than a full-scale world war. Continuing troop buildups in the Middle East today followed a pattern of escalation that leaves most observers fearing the very worst. But while the crisis has really only been developing for just over a month now, it's clear its roots go much deeper. And today the question on all of our minds is whether this 4,000-year-old conflict is about to find its end in a nuclear fireball. WNN's continuing coverage of the Battle of Armageddon will continue. When we come back, we'll join Bronson Pearl, who's on location in the very eye of the storm in central Israel.
Yes, Mr. Pearl, it is Armageddon. To us, the word is Megiddo.
Megiddo, Armageddon, the name doesn't really matter. It's what it represents. Half the world's armies are on their way here right now. And everyone that is watching television is expecting, well, the end of everything.
We understand that, Bronson. But you have to understand, too. This is our land. It's all we've got. There is no other safe place for the Jew. You know that. Wherever we have gone for 2,000 years, we have been hated and butchered. And now, they want to do it to us again, in our own land. It's just a tiny sliver of a land. So the land is meaningless. It is our existence they cannot tolerate. We have got to fight. We are not a people who can hope for a better day. We live as one. We'll die as one.
I do sympathize with you, General. But it's not just nations we are talking about here.
We're set, Bronson. We're going live in 30 seconds.
Are you going to give me the cue from Helen? Thanks, Helen. I'm standing here in the heart of modern-day Israel, not far from a place called Armageddon. All we can do is hope and pray that this name does not end up being prophetic as events unfold here over the next few hours. Less than 5 miles from here, troops from over 60 nations are gathering and preparing for war. The fact that this massive conflict appears to be building up around a place called Armageddon is not really a coincidence. The simple fact is that Armageddon is the only passage into Israel that Mother Nature has left open. And that leaves enormous foreign armies only hours from Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. But even though the ground-based troops have not yet made it into these cities, hundreds of aircraft have. And as you can see, the damage is extensive. So far, there are no reports of non-conventional weapons being used, but clearly, we are now only seeing the start of something much bigger. Hour by hour, every nation in the world is being forced to take a side in this showdown. And as Pentagon spokesman Richard Stanfield has made clear, the United States is no exception.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The President has made it clear that the United States supports the right of Israel to exist. To that end, we will use whatever force is appropriate and necessary to defend that right. The President has been in touch with the Russians, the Chinese, and the President of the Arab League within the past hour. He has forcefully communicated America's position and our decision to meet any aggression in kind. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The United States is ready and prepared to go to war to defend Israel, our friend and our ally. Thank you very much. No more questions. No more questions.
Obviously, the stakes are much higher than this tiny valley in this tiny nation. And while the hands on the doomsday clock move closer to midnight, there still may be a glimmer of hope for the world. European Union President Franco Macaluso is expected to arrive in the area tomorrow morning. He is the one man who has the respect of every single party to the conflict, and many believe that he is the only one who can back us away from the edge of the cliff before we tumble over. In fact, in an intriguing proclamation yesterday, the charismatic leader boldly stated that he won't allow the world to destroy itself. He even seemed to predict that a miraculous event awaits us. A moment when we find that missiles and bombs are no match for the will of a completely united mankind. Hopefully, President Macaluso can convince the world that the Battle of Armageddon is not a foregone conclusion, and that history will instead unfold exactly as we write it over the next few days. I'm Bronson Pearl, reporting for WNN near Armageddon in central Israel. Helen?
Thank you, Bronson. It'll be great to get you back to your spot here at the WNN anchor desk. We take you now to New York, where Bureau Chief Murray Bothwell will ask us some
New
tough
York's
questions
coming up.
about what might happen
New York's on the line.
if someone decides
Okay,
to
great.
use chemical, biological, or even nuclear
Take care of
weapons.
this for me, will you? Jim,
For now, though, most
I need
observers
more light in the
agree
studio. I
this
need it in
scenario
10
is
minutes.
becoming
All
much
right, we're
more
going back from
likely
New York in
with
10.
every
I need
passing
more light as
hour.
soon as you can get it for me. Okay? Take care of that. Okay, Helen, you're clear.
Robert, is Bronson still on the line?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Could you patch him through to me, please? I really need to talk to him.
Yeah, sure thing. Go.
Bronson, are you there? Is it as bad as it looks?
Oh, I've never seen anything like it. It's like everyone is just assuming that there's no turning back.
I just can't believe all this is happening and we're so far apart. I miss you so much, Bronson.
I miss you too, Helen. But I gotta be here right now. Every world leader is watching this thing through us. Maybe I can help. Maybe I can get them to see what is really about to happen.
What was that?
Just some guys testing some weapons. Don't worry about it. I'll be home soon.
You promise?
Hey, I'm the most trusted guy in the world, remember?
Well, then I guess I'll just have to believe.
I gotta go. I love you.
I love you too.
Indeed, as WNN begins today to simultaneously broadcast via television, the internet, and even the 70,000 electronic billboards like this one, it seems almost providential that such technology is coming online at this exact moment. The all-too-real threat of nuclear war has just about everyone on the planet glued to the latest news. Whether it is the United States, Russia, China, or Australia, we all seem to be realizing, for perhaps the first time, that we are all indeed in exactly the same boat. Well, hopefully, this new technology will help us to truly come together before we annihilate one another. For WNN, this is Janet Shutt.
Jim, any word from Bronson yet?
Sorry, Helen. Nothing yet.
He'll be all right, Helen. Jim and I have our whole church praying for him.
Thanks, Susie. Looks like we'll need all the help we can get.
Well, I'm not a religious man myself, but God help us all.
Amen to that.
Hey, everybody, look who's going live.
Yes! All right, people, let's get ready. We're going live when he's done. All right, folks, we're going live in 3, 2...
Events here in the Middle East took a horrifying turn for the worst a few minutes ago. We have confirmed reports that Israel's largest city, Tel Aviv, has been hit with a series of chemical warheads that have been spreading deadly poison across the region as quickly as the wind will carry it. Command leader General Elazar had this to say a few minutes ago.
Right now, as I speak these words, a deadly cloud is traveling across the Israeli countryside, killing every living thing it touches. Even gas masks are useless against these chemicals. This cloud does not care if you are a soldier or a civilian, an adult or a baby, a Jew or a Palestinian. It will not destroy military targets, communication outposts, transportation links, or airfields. Instead, it has only one purpose: to kill innocent people, to try to finish the job that Hitler started and failed.
Clearly the general means what he is saying, and right now the activity in the air above us has intensified almost beyond belief. Enormous explosions in the distance have rocked the ground we're standing on. We have confirmed reports now that the U.S. aircraft carrier Nebraska has just been hit by a torpedo from a Chinese nuclear submarine. No confirmation yet on what type of weapon was used, but we do have confirmation that the Nebraska has been destroyed, and its crew of nearly 5,000 men and women are presumed dead. We're still waiting for an official statement from the Pentagon, but for now it's safe to say that the United States of America is officially at war. Meanwhile, here in central Israel, the greatest military confrontation in the history of the world continues to loom this evening, with an estimated 3 million troops now deployed within 100 square miles of where I am standing now. Another 2 million are reported to be less than 3 hours away. Clearly, everything we are seeing is pointing in the direction of a battle the likes of which this world has never seen. Nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons have now been used, and unless someone hits the brake, our future may be a short one. For WNN, I'm Bronson Pearl, near Armageddon, Israel.
Clearly, the almost inevitable conclusion that a nuclear device of some kind was used to sink the Nebraska suggests that the war in the Middle East may be about to escalate into a full-scale nuclear confrontation. We have Dr. Stephen Horn on the line with us right now. Dr. Horn is the head of nuclear research and development at UCLA. Dr. Horn, thank you for agreeing to talk to us.
Well, thank you.
How many nuclear weapons are there?
Well, consider the atom bomb that fell on Hiroshima in 1945. In the nuclear stockpile today, we would have the equivalent of 700,000 of those bombs. To put it more dramatically, that would amount to 4 tons of TNT for every man, woman, and child in the world. It's like having your own Oklahoma City truck bomb for each and every one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Horn. We interrupt this statement to take you now to David Boyle in Beijing, China for this update.
Helen, the footage you are seeing is less than 90 seconds old. I'm standing here not a quarter mile from the Chinese Defense Ministry headquarters, which, as you can see, has just been rocked by an enormous explosion. We were waiting here for a statement from the Chinese on the attack on the Nebraska when the building just burst into flames. Then, within a matter of seconds, the entire structure just caved in on itself. There is no doubt that what we have just witnessed is a U.S. retaliation for an attack on the Nebraska, and that our planet has just edged closer to the brink of World War III. David Boyle, WNN, Beijing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just received word from NORAD Command that several land-based nuclear missile launches have now been detected. We will keep you apprised as to their intended targets, but for now we are advising everyone who can see us right now to take immediate shelter.
General Al-Assad, nukes inbound, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, ETA 3 minutes.
You know what to do. Something's fist.
Now confirmed that a nuclear explosion has rocked the Soviet nuclear missile site on the Kamchatka Peninsula in northern Russia. No word yet on who is responsible for the bombing, and also no word on whether or not the Russians had launched any weapons of their own prior to the strike. There is little doubt, however, that more nuclear strikes can be expected around the world in the next little while. We take you now back to Richard Stanfield at the Pentagon.
Forces not already in the Gulf are being mobilized in record numbers, and the United States will throw every resource it has into battling these enemies of peace. A full draft program is now being prepared and will be announced within the hour. In the meantime, we ask all Americans to pray for the President of the United States will now address the nation.
My fellow Americans, approximately 11 minutes ago, several hundred nuclear weapons were launched against us and our allies by the enemies of world peace. The exact targets cannot be determined, but catastrophic destruction is a certainty. Even though the policy of mutually assured destruction was intended to deter an event such as this one, it is also a philosophy that I believe must be carried out in practice, not just in principle. In keeping with that view, I have just authorized a counterstrike, the magnitude of which is almost beyond measure. Those who would see fit to kill hundreds of millions of innocent people for political gain must not be allowed to take control of the world, and the United States will not stand by and watch them do it, whatever the cost. It is indeed a sad statement about the human race that people would rather destroy the planet than open their minds to the views and beliefs of others. I am deeply sorry for what has happened. I am sorry that it has happened on my watch. God help us all.
The President's message is clear. Nuclear destruction far beyond anything any of us could have imagined is now imminent. The fact that the President is now aboard Air Force One suggests that the continental United States is indeed a likely target. Unfortunately, the design of the warheads makes it impossible to know which cities have been targeted until only seconds before detonation. For all we know, we could be sitting on one of those targets right now. Any of us could. We now join our Los Angeles affiliate station already in progress.
But it is unlikely that any kind of defense could be designed to protect us against such terrible weapons of mass destruction. I think probably the best thing we could have done would be perhaps to go home, say goodbye, and perhaps... Oh my God, Charlie! Charlie, this is impossible. This is just impossible. I just can't believe it. I don't know what to say. My cameraman, Charles Taff, he's just disappeared right in front of me. I don't understand it. People all around me seem to have been vaporized or something.
Someone took my baby!
Helen, are you okay?
Jim was working on the light. It just fell down.
Jim?
That was no nuke. What kind of weapon have we been hit with, and why are we still here?
Can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Suzette and Eve, they've vanished. Oh my God, not Helen too.
Bronson, are you there? Bronson, please, are you there?
If they had a weapon like this, our intelligence should have known about it. How can we fight against this if we don't even know what it is?
Sir, we are receiving reports from all over the place. Planes down, men missing. Right here in camp, we appear to have lost at least 100 men.
We must have been hit by something. Find out.
General, it's not just here. Our live feed from stateside shows that people have vanished from there too.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, it appears that something very unusual is happening in the world at the moment. We are receiving reports from all over the world of people simply vanishing into thin air. We are not receiving any news on any nuclear detonations at this time, so exactly what has happened is not clear. We will be keeping in touch with you on everything that's happening, so please stay tuned.
Hey, Helen, we're clear.
Helen, please, can you hear me?
Bronson, thank God you're okay. I thought you...
I thought you were too.
What's going on? Do you know anything?
No, I don't know if anyone does. But I can tell you this, all the nukes are gone. They simply vanished from radar along with all those people. The Israelis here are convinced it's a new weapon of some kind. But it's hard to imagine what it could be.
I'm just so glad you're all right.